The sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows across the alien city of Lumeris. Towering spires shimmered with crystal lights, and the streets hummed softly with energy. Flying vehicles glided above, leaving streaks of colors in their wake. But not everything in the city was peaceful. Outside the city walls, a small group of scouts rushed along a narrow path. Their leader, Princess Solara, moved quickly, her long, glowing hair catching the last rays of sunlight. She was not alone. Somewhere ahead, danger waited. Shadows moved strangely among the rocks and hills, silent but threatening. Solara's sharp eyes noticed the glint of weapons. She slowed, signaling the scouts to stop. The scouts whispered nervously. They had been trained well, but no one had ever faced this kind of attack before. The princess's heart beat fast, but she did not show fear. Suddenly, from the shadows, a group of strange creatures charged. They were larger than any Lumerian had ever seen, with armored scales and glowing eyes. The scouts raised their weapons, but they were outnumbered. The creatures struck quickly. Solara moved with skill and speed, deflecting an attack with her staff. She ducked and rolled, avoiding sharp claws. One of the creatures lunged at her, and she felt a sharp push. She stumbled backward, almost losing her balance. Then a human appeared. He moved differently than the Lumerians, not with grace but with determination. He carried no strange weapons, only a metal staff, but he met the creature with courage. With careful strikes and quick thinking, he protected Solara and helped the scouts push the attackers back. The fight did not last long, but it was enough. The creatures retreated into the shadows, leaving the humans and Lumerians behind. Solara stood, breathing heavily, her eyes wide. She looked at the human. "Are you hurt?" she asked. The human shook his head, brushing dust from his clothes. "No, but you should be careful. They may come back." Solara studied him closely. He was tall for a human, with strong shoulders and steady hands. His brown eyes reflected courage and calmness. Somehow she felt that he was different. Not just a human who happened to be here, but someone special. "My name is Solara," she said. "Who are you?" "I'm Daniel," he replied. His voice was calm, polite, and respectful. "I was traveling near your city when I saw the attack. I wanted to help." Solara nodded. "You saved my life. You saved many lives. I need you to come with me. We cannot let you leave now." The scouts looked at each other, confused. It was unusual for the princess to speak so boldly. "Your Highness, he is only human. Our people are not used to outsiders," one scout whispered. Solara turned to him, her voice firm. "He is not only human, he is brave. He is clever, and he helped protect us. That is enough." Daniel hesitated. He had not expected to be accepted so quickly. In human lands, strangers were treated with caution, not with honor. But here, in this strange city, the princess was different. She did not care about his origin. She cared about what he did. The group returned to the city. The streets of Lumeris were bright and busy. Citizens stared as the small group entered the palace gates. It was not common for humans to walk these streets, and many whispered to each other. But Solara ignored them. Her attention was only on Daniel. Inside the palace, the grand hall stretched high above, filled with crystal chandeliers and glowing ornaments. The walls were decorated with art and symbols of Lumeris history. Daniel walked slowly, taking in the beauty and the size of the palace. He had never seen anything like it. Solara led him to a room near her own chambers. "You will stay here for the night," she said. "Tomorrow the council will decide what to do, but I will not let anyone harm you." Daniel bowed slightly. "Thank you, Princess. I do not want trouble. I only helped because it was the right thing to do." Solara smiled softly. "You are already causing change. That is more than enough." The next morning, the palace was alive with activity. News of the humans' presence spread quickly. Guards whispered to each other. Servants peered from the corners. Even nobles from distant lands sent messages asking to meet him. Daniel's presence caused a stir unlike anything Solara had ever seen. Queen Althira, the ruler of Lumeris and Solara's mother, summoned the princess to her chambers. The queen's eyes were sharp and thoughtful. She had heard everything. "Solara," the queen began, "why is there a human in our palace? You know our laws. Humans are not part of our world. They cannot be trusted." Solara did not hesitate. She stood tall and met her mother's gaze. "Mother, Daniel is not an ordinary human. He saved lives. He proved his courage. He deserves our protection." The queen studied her daughter carefully. "Do you understand what this means? The council may not accept your decision. The nobles may see this as an insult. You are risking much for him." Solara's voice was calm but strong. "I understand, but he is here and I will not abandon him. He acted with honor. That is what matters to me." The queen did not speak for a long time. Finally, she nodded slowly. "Very well. He will stay for now. But you must be cautious. The council can be strict, and not everyone will understand your choice." Meanwhile, Daniel began to explore the palace under Solara's guidance. He learned about the Lumerian ways, their technology, and their culture. The palace had gardens that floated in mid-air, filled with plants that glowed softly. The walls had energy shields that changed color with the sun. Daniel marveled at it all, but he never forgot the danger outside the walls. Solara and Daniel spent time together. They shared stories about their worlds. Daniel told her about Earth, about humans who traveled to unknown lands and faced challenges with courage. Solara shared stories of Lumeris, of battles and honor, of loyalty to the crown. They found a quiet respect for each other. As evening approached, the palace became quiet. The guards patrolled and the light shimmered softly. Daniel stood near a balcony, looking at the city below. Solara joined him, her presence calm and reassuring. "You are far from home," Solara said softly. Daniel nodded. "Yes, but sometimes being far from home shows you who you really are, and sometimes it leads you to where you are needed most." Solara smiled, feeling a strange warmth in her heart. She had never expected to meet someone like him. Someone who could be brave, honest, and kind. Someone who could stand by her side without fear. That night, as Daniel rested in the guest chamber, Solara looked out of her own window. She thought about the queen, the council, and the nobles. They would not easily accept a human in the palace, but she did not feel fear. She felt certainty. Daniel had arrived in her life not by chance, but by purpose, and she knew that whatever challenges came next, he would stand beside her. She was ready to face them all. Outside, the city of Lumeris glowed softly under the stars. The palace, grand and powerful, seemed peaceful. But a quiet storm was coming. And at the center of it all was a human named Daniel, whose courage had already begun to change the fate of the kingdom. Solara whispered to the night, "Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow everything will change." And with that thought, she returned to her chamber, knowing the human beside her was no ordinary traveler. He was the beginning of something new, something unexpected, something extraordinary. The morning sun glimmered across the palace of Lumeris. Its crystal towers reflected light in every direction, casting a rainbow of colors on the streets below. Inside the grand hall, the air was tense. Word had spread quickly. A human had entered the palace and Princess Solara had welcomed him. The nobles were restless. Daniel walked beside Solara as they entered the hall. His human features were simple compared to the elegant alien forms around him. His skin was plain, his hair ordinary, but there was a calm confidence in the way he carried himself. Many of the nobles whispered behind their hands, shocked that a human could even step in the palace without fear. Solara noticed the murmurs. Her lips pressed together, her expression calm. "Do not worry about them," she said softly to Daniel. "They will speak, but they cannot harm you while I am here." Daniel nodded. "I only wish to help, not cause trouble." The first to approach was Lord Kale, a tall, angular noble with silver skin and sharp eyes. He bowed deeply, though his tone was cautious. "Princess Solara, may I ask why you bring a human into the palace? This is most unusual. Humans are weak and their ways are strange." Solara met his gaze firmly. "This human is neither weak nor strange. He saved lives yesterday, including mine. That is reason enough to treat him with honor." A ripple of surprise passed through the hall. Some nobles frowned, others whispered, questioning the wisdom of the princess. But Solara did not back down. She turned to the council at the head of the hall. "I ask you to see the truth. He is brave. He is clever. He helped us when many might have failed. Is that not more important than his origin?" The council murmured. Their leader, Elder Varen, a dignified alien with glowing eyes, stroked his chin thoughtfully. "Princess Solara, your words are bold, but humans have never been part of our kingdom. They do not understand our laws, our customs, or our ways. How can we trust him fully?" Daniel stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "I may not know your laws or customs, but I do understand courage, loyalty, and honor. Yesterday I fought to protect lives. If that is not enough to prove my intention, then I will do whatever I must to earn your trust." A silence fell over the hall. No one had expected a human to speak with such clarity. The nobles exchanged surprised glances. Some could not hide their doubt, but a few watched him with curiosity. Elder Varen finally spoke. "Very well. We shall test him. He will assist in the palace today. He will demonstrate his abilities. Only then can we consider allowing him to stay." Solara smiled faintly. "Thank you, Elder Varen. That is fair." She turned to Daniel. "Today you will show them who you are." "I believe in you," Daniel nodded. "I will do my best." The first task was simple yet unusual for a human. A key crystal in the palace's energy system had cracked during the attack outside the walls. It was a small fracture, but enough to risk the palace's defenses if left unrepaired. The palace engineers had tried, but none could fix it. Daniel examined the crystal carefully. His hands moved with precision. He applied small adjustments, tested energy flow, and gently shifted parts into place. The crystal began to glow steadily, brighter and stronger than before. Gasps came from the gathered nobles. None had seen a human repair such a complex device. Solara's eyes shone with pride. "See, he is not just strong. He is wise and clever." Lord Kale stepped closer, curiosity mixing with doubt. "Impressive," he admitted. "But perhaps it was luck. The crystal could have been faulty." Daniel shook his head. "It was not luck. It is observation, understanding, and careful action. Anyone can learn given the chance." Solara noticed a few nobles nodding subtly, slowly beginning to respect Daniel's skill. Even Elder Varen looked thoughtful. Next, the council brought a strategy challenge. The palace had been attacked before, and Solara had been instructed to learn the defense patterns. Daniel was asked to examine the battle logs and suggest improvements. He studied the holographic maps of the attack, noting enemy movements and weak points in the palace's defenses. Then he proposed new patrol paths, sensor adjustments, and improved energy shields. The nobles were astonished. A human, they realized, could think in ways they had not considered. He saw patterns that had escaped even the most experienced advisors. Solara beamed. "He learns quickly. He understands our world." Throughout the day, Daniel assisted with multiple tasks, repairing small machines, organizing defenses, and even helping with the palace gardens, which floated in midair. The plants were delicate, and the slightest mistake could have damaged them. Daniel worked carefully, and the plants glowed brighter under his care. The court's whispers slowly changed. Some nobles still doubted him, but many began to admire his courage and skill. Solara noticed the shift. Her heart swelled with quiet pride, yet not everyone was pleased. Lady Vera, a noblewoman known for her strict adherence to tradition, glared from the corner of the hall. "This human does not belong here. You will regret this, princess," she said softly, though Solara heard every word. Solara did not reply. She had learned long ago that some voices could be ignored. Instead, she focused on Daniel, who had remained calm despite the scrutiny. As evening approached, Solara led Daniel to the palace gardens. Floating flowers glowed softly in the dim light, and the air was warm and fragrant. The city below sparkled with lights, and the stars began to appear in the sky. "You did well today," Solara said softly. "You proved your skill, your courage, and your loyalty. I am proud of you." Daniel looked at her, a faint smile on his lips. "Thank you, princess. I only wish to help." "I did not expect to earn praise," Solara shook her head. "It is not just praise. It is recognition. You are not like the humans who were here before. You are different. You are someone the kingdom can rely on." Daniel felt warmth in his chest. He had faced danger, survived the unknown, and now, despite being far from home, he was respected. But he also felt the weight of the palace's expectations. This world was strange, and his place here was not guaranteed. Suddenly, a distant alarm sounded. A sensor had detected movement near the outer walls. Solara's eyes narrowed. Another attack? They are bold to come again. The palace guards rushed to their stations, and Daniel followed, ready to assist. The nobles watched, some with fear, some with curiosity. Solara turned to Daniel. "Stay close to me. We must be ready for anything." The threat turned out to be minor, a small patrol of creatures scouting the palace. But Daniel's quick thinking helped the guards capture the intruders before they could alert others. Once again, his presence had made a difference. As the night fell, the court slowly settled. The nobles retired to their chambers, still whispering about the human. Some were impressed. Some remained doubtful. But one truth was clear. Daniel had changed the palace, even if only slightly. Solara and Daniel stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The wind was cool, carrying the faint hum of the palace's energy systems. "You have done more than I could have hoped," Solara said. "But tomorrow the council will meet. They will question you, perhaps even challenge you. Are you ready?" Daniel looked at her. "I am ready. I do not fear their questions. I only wish to serve and to protect. If that is enough, I will do it." Solara smiled, feeling a deep respect and trust for him. "It is enough. And I will stand by you no matter what." The stars shone brightly over Lumeris, and the palace rested peacefully, though the day had been filled with tension. A human had arrived, and in doing so he had begun to change the minds of many. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The council would meet, and not all would approve of Daniel's presence. But for now, the princess and the human stood together, ready to face whatever came next. For the first time in the palace's history, a human had earned a place among the aliens. And the story of Daniel and Princess Solara had only just begun. The morning sky over Lumeris was a soft violet, the sun barely visible through thin clouds. The palace with its towering spires and glowing gardens seemed calm, but the calm was only temporary. Scouts reported movement beyond the outer walls. This time the threat was larger and closer. Princess Solara moved quickly through the palace halls, her staff in hand. Daniel followed her, alert and prepared. The humans and aliens had trained together since yesterday, but nothing could fully prepare them for the danger approaching. "Mother," Solara said as she entered the Queen's chambers, "the scouts have seen a large force near the western cliffs. We may face another attack." Queen Althira, seated on her crystal throne, nodded thoughtfully. "I trust you to lead, Solara. But you must be careful. This force is not like the last. They will not retreat so easily." Solara's gaze hardened. "We will protect the palace. All of us." She looked at Daniel. "Stay close to me. Your skills may be needed more than ever." Daniel nodded silently. He had learned much about Lumeris in the past 2 days, but he still had much to understand. Still, he had one advantage humans had always relied on: adaptability. He could think quickly, act decisively, and face danger without hesitation. The western cliffs overlooked jagged terrain where the creatures had been seen. Soldiers lined the palace walls, energy weapons charged and ready. The air was tense. Solara raised her staff, signaling all to be alert. Daniel walked beside her, scanning the horizon. Suddenly, the enemy moved. From the hills emerged a large group of creatures, faster and stronger than before. Their eyes glowed bright red, and their armor shimmered darkly. They had learned from the last attempt and were better organized. "Shields up," Solara shouted. Energy fields expanded around the palace walls. The creatures charged, claws and weapons ready. The soldiers fired, and beams of light streaked across the battlefield. Daniel did not hesitate. He analyzed the creatures' patterns quickly, noticing a gap in their formation. He pointed to a weak point near the eastern tower. "If we focus our defense there, we can stop them before they reach the palace gates." Solara nodded. "Do it." She raised her staff and moved toward the eastern tower, Daniel beside her. The soldiers adjusted their positions, following Daniel's directions. The creatures reached the palace walls, striking fiercely. The energy shields wavered, but thanks to Daniel's plan, the defense held. Beams of light struck with precision, and the creatures were pushed back momentarily. Solara faced one of the larger creatures. Its claws were sharp, its movements fast. She blocked its strike with her staff but was thrown backward. Daniel reacted immediately. He grabbed a piece of broken crystal from the ground and struck at the creature's legs. It faltered, giving Solara time to recover. Together, they pushed it back. The soldiers watched in awe. A human fighting alongside the princess, using clever tactics and bravery, was something they had never seen before. Some began to whisper among themselves, questioning their previous doubts. The battle raged for hours. Daniel and Solara worked as a team, coordinating attacks, saving soldiers, and protecting the palace. At one point, a creature broke through a side gate. Daniel intercepted it, using his staff to block and redirect its attacks. Solara joined him, and together they forced it back outside the walls. Finally, as the sun began to set, the creatures retreated. They had lost many and decided the palace was too strong to conquer today. The soldiers cheered, exhausted but relieved. Solara and Daniel stood together on the palace wall, watching the last of the enemy vanish into the distance. "Today, you did more than I could have imagined," Solara said, her voice steady but full of admiration. "Without your quick thinking and courage, we could have lost many lives." Daniel shook his head. "I only did what I had to. You led us all with skill and bravery. Without your guidance, my help would have been meaningless," Solara smiled. She had fought beside many warriors before, but none had impressed her like Daniel, not just his skill but his calmness under pressure, his ability to see solutions others missed, and his willingness to protect her above all. After the battle, the palace began repairing damage. Broken shields were restored, walls were reinforced, and the soldiers attended to their injuries. Daniel helped wherever he could, earning further respect from the palace staff. Even some of the nobles who had doubted him yesterday now nodded in acknowledgement of his skill and courage. That evening, Solara led Daniel to the palace gardens. The floating flowers glowed softly, reflecting the stars above. The city lights shimmered in the distance. They walked together quietly, neither needing to speak immediately. "You saved many lives today," Solara said after a moment. "Not just mine. You risked your own without hesitation." Daniel looked at her. "I could not stand by while others were in danger." "You showed courage too, Princess." "I only followed your lead," Solara shook her head. "You did more than follow. You made decisions, guided our defense, and protected everyone. You were my partner today, and I trust you completely." Daniel felt a warmth in his chest. Humans valued trust highly, and for an alien princess to place such trust in him was more than he had expected. "Thank you," he said softly. "That means more than you know." Solara paused, looking at him. "There is something I need to tell you," she said. "Not everyone will understand. Some will resist, some will criticize, but I cannot hide it. I trust you completely, and more than that, I value you." Daniel's eyes widened slightly. "Princess, I am honored. I never expected to receive such trust in a world so different from my own. But I will not betray it," Solara smiled. "I know you will not. That is why I have decided something important. When the council questions our bond, when the nobles judge you, I will stand by your side. You are not just a protector. You are someone I care for deeply." Daniel looked at her, surprised but grateful. "Princess, I care for you too. I came here to help, but I did not expect this. I am ready to stand with you no matter what comes." Solara nodded, feeling a deep connection she had never experienced before. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel the strength of trust and partnership with someone from another world. Meanwhile, the palace buzzed quietly. Some nobles began to reconsider their opinions of Daniel. The soldiers who had fought alongside him could not deny his bravery and intelligence. Even the queen, observing from her chambers, remained silent but thoughtful. She had seen Daniel act today, and she could not ignore his contribution. As night deepened, the palace rested. The stars shone brightly over Lumeris, and the floating gardens glimmered softly. Solara and Daniel stood together in a quiet courtyard, looking at the city below. "The day is over," Solara said softly, "but the council will meet tomorrow. They will question everything. Are you ready for that?" Daniel nodded. "I am ready. Whatever they ask, I will answer honestly, and I will stand by you, Princess. Always." Solara smiled, feeling a quiet strength. "Then we face them together. No matter what happens, I know we can overcome it." Today proved that. For the first time, the palace of Lumeris saw something unexpected. A human fighting as an equal beside the princess, earning respect, trust, and admiration. The story of Daniel and Solara was growing stronger, and the bond between them was becoming more than just mutual respect. It was forming into partnership, trust, and something deeper that neither had expected. The night passed quietly, but the palace was far from peaceful. The council would meet, and not all would accept Daniel's presence. But Solara and Daniel were ready. Together they had faced danger and emerged victorious. Together they would face the trials ahead. The bond forged in battle had changed everything. The palace had witnessed courage, skill, and loyalty beyond tradition. And the human who had arrived as a stranger had begun to become part of something greater than anyone could imagine. The grand hall of the Lumerian palace glimmered in the early morning light. Crystals in the high ceiling reflected soft beams across the polished floors. Today was not an ordinary day. The council had gathered, and nobles from every corner of the kingdom filled the hall. Whispers echoed as they waited for Princess Solara to enter. Every eye turned toward the double doors when she appeared, calm and confident. Daniel followed behind her, standing tall, his human frame contrasting with the elegant aliens around him. The nobles murmured. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Others stared in awe. It was not often that humans were seen in the palace, let alone beside the princess. Solara moved to the center of the hall. She lifted her chin and raised her voice so that every person could hear. Today I speak not only for myself but for the truth of my heart. Many of you have doubts about this human, she said, glancing at Daniel. Many of you have questioned why he is here. Today I will answer. This human is my chosen companion, my trusted partner, and the one I will stand beside for the rest of my life. The hall fell silent. Nobles froze, their eyes wide. Daniel looked at her, unsure if she would truly say what she meant. Then she continued. I speak calmly because I have thought carefully. This man, Daniel, is not merely a protector. He is someone I respect, someone I trust, and someone I care for. He has proven his courage, his intelligence, and his loyalty in ways that no other has. Therefore, I declare that he is my spouse. The silence stretched, heavier than any crystal chandelier above them. Some nobles gasped, covering their mouths. Others leaned forward, staring in disbelief. Elder Varen, the council leader, furrowed his brow. Princess Solara, Elder Varen said slowly, this is unprecedented. The laws of Lumeris have never allowed a union between a human and a royal. Such a declaration is extraordinary. You must consider the consequences. Solara's voice did not waver. I have considered everything. I know the traditions, the risks, and the possible objections. But I will not deny what I feel, nor will I deny what is right. Daniel has earned his place beside me through his deeds, his courage, and his honor. That is enough. The nobles whispered rapidly, debating among themselves. Some spoke quietly of honor and bravery. Others argued that the princess's choice violated centuries of tradition. Lady Vera, who had opposed Daniel since his arrival, stepped forward, her tone sharp. Princess Solara, this is reckless. You cannot bind yourself to a human. It is unthinkable. The council and the people will not accept it, she said, her voice echoing in the hall. Solara turned to face her, her expression calm. I do not act recklessly. I act with conviction. Daniel has proven himself not by words but by action. Courage and loyalty are not defined by origin. He has saved lives, guided our defense, and shown wisdom beyond expectation. He is worthy. The room fell into stunned silence again. Daniel felt the weight of every gaze upon him. He had never expected to be part of something so important. Yet he stood tall, his eyes meeting Solara's. Your Highness, he said softly, I did not seek this. I only wished to help. But if this is what you wish, I will stand by you and honor your trust. I will prove that I am worthy of your words. The nobles shifted, some impressed by his calm and respectful tone. Even those who doubted him could not deny the strength of his character. Queen Althira, who had watched quietly from her throne, rose slowly. Her crystal crown caught the light, and her presence commanded attention. The room fell silent once more. Solara, the queen began, her voice steady and thoughtful. You speak of courage, loyalty, and honor. I have seen this human act. I have observed his skill, his bravery, and his respect for our people. You have spoken your truth openly and without fear. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the hall. This is not a matter to decide lightly. But one thing is clear. He has proven his worth today and yesterday and in the hours since he arrived. That alone demands recognition. The nobles looked at each other in disbelief. The queen's approval, even if cautious, shifted the balance. Many knew that opposing the queen directly would be unwise. Yet some still whispered doubts. Solara took a deep breath. Mother, I know this challenges tradition, but it does not break it. A union should be based on trust, respect, and shared courage. Daniel embodies all of these. I ask you as your daughter to honor my choice and acknowledge him as my spouse. The queen studied Daniel carefully. His calmness, his intelligence, his courage, all were visible in every gesture and word. She turned back to Solara and nodded slowly. If he has proven his worth in deeds, then he has earned his place by your side, Queen Althera said, her voice strong and clear. The palace must accept this. The council must accept this. You have my blessing. A wave of murmurs passed through the hall. Some nobles whispered, some frowned, but all knew that the queen's word carried ultimate authority. Slowly, respect replaced disbelief. Daniel had not only impressed the princess, but now had the queen's recognition as well. Solara stepped forward, reaching for Daniel's hand. Thank you, mother, she said softly. She turned to Daniel, her eyes filled with calm pride. You are officially part of this kingdom, not by birth, but by action and honor. I am proud to call you my spouse. Daniel felt a deep sense of responsibility. He had earned the trust of an entire world, and now he was bound to the princess not only by duty, but by respect and trust. I am honored, Princess Solara. I will stand by you and serve the kingdom as best I can. The nobles slowly bowed to acknowledge Daniel. Some did so reluctantly, still adjusting to the idea. Others smiled, seeing a human capable of bravery, intelligence, and loyalty. The council accepted his presence, and the palace began to return to its normal rhythm. Though everyone was aware that this was a moment the kingdom would remember for generations. Lady Vera, though reluctant, stepped back, realizing she could not challenge the queen's judgment. The other nobles looked to each other, silently agreeing that a new era had begun. The story of a human beside the princess was no longer a rumor but a reality. Later, in the quiet of the evening, Solara and Daniel stood together in the palace gardens. The floating flowers glowed softly, and the stars reflected in the crystal pools below. Today changed everything, Daniel said quietly. Solara nodded, holding his hand firmly. Yes, but it also proved something important. Courage, loyalty, and honor matter more than origin. You have shown all of these, and now the palace knows it as well. Daniel looked at her, his heart full. I never imagined that a human like me could belong here. But with you, I feel that I do, and I will protect that trust always. Solara smiled. I know you will. That is why I chose you. You are more than a companion, more than a protector. You are my equal, my partner, and my spouse. And together we will face whatever comes next. The palace lights shimmered as the night deepened. The nobles had returned to their chambers. The council had adjourned, and the city of Lumeris rested under the quiet glow of stars. But for Daniel and Solara, the real journey was only beginning. Tomorrow, new challenges would arise. The kingdom had many dangers, both inside and outside the walls. But now they faced those challenges as a team, united in trust, respect, and a bond that defied tradition. In that moment, Daniel realized that he had found a place not only in the palace but in the heart of the princess and the future of the kingdom. And Solara, looking at him, knew that she had found someone who could stand beside her in any trial, human or alien, with courage, honor, and unwavering loyalty. The palace was stunned, yes, but the story of the human and the princess was becoming legend. A human had proven himself worthy of trust, respect, and love in a world that had never expected it. And together they were ready to face the trials of the days ahead. The grand hall of the palace was quiet, filled with the soft hum of crystal lights. Outside, the city of Lumeris shimmered under the morning sun. Today was different from any other day in living memory. After days of tension, debate, and extraordinary events, the queen would deliver her final judgment regarding the human named Daniel, who had become a central figure in the kingdom. Princess Solara stood at the center of the hall, her staff in hand, her calm gaze fixed on the queen. Daniel was beside her, standing tall but slightly tense. Though he had proven himself in battle and in the council's tasks, he now faced the ultimate challenge, acceptance by the ruler of the kingdom and the nobles. Queen Althera rose from her throne, her crystal crown catching the light and casting a subtle glow across the hall. She looked at the gathered council and nobles, then at Daniel. The silence in the room was thick, broken only by the gentle hum of the palace's energy systems. Today, the queen began, her voice steady, We must decide what is truly important for this kingdom. Courage, loyalty, and honor have always been our guiding principles. The question before us is whether these qualities are sufficient to allow a human to stand beside the princess as her chosen companion. She paused, letting her words settle over the crowd. All eyes were on Daniel. Some nobles still looked uncertain, others curious, but no one spoke. They waited for the queen's final word. Daniel has demonstrated courage beyond expectation. He fought alongside our soldiers to defend the palace and protect the princess from danger. He has used intelligence and quick thinking to repair critical defenses and improve strategies. He has acted with honor, never seeking reward, and with loyalty that is rare even among our own people. The hall remained silent. Queen Althira's gaze softened as she turned toward Solara. "Princess Solara," she said, "you have spoken of trust, respect, and care for this human. You have acted with thought, not impulse. You have seen his actions and judged his heart." Solara bowed slightly, her voice calm but firm. "Mother, I trust him completely. He has earned every right to be beside me, and he has shown the qualities that this kingdom values above all else. I do not ask for approval lightly, but I ask for recognition of what is true and just." The queen looked at Daniel once more, studying his calm and steady demeanor. "I have observed you in ways no one else could. You have proven your skill, your courage, and your loyalty repeatedly. You have earned respect not through birth but through action. That is the highest form of honor." Daniel felt the weight of her words. He had come from a world far away, a human who had never imagined standing in a palace of alien royalty. Yet here he was, recognized for his deeds, his character, and his heart. The queen raised her hands, commanding the attention of everyone in the hall. "Let all nobles and council members bear witness. Daniel, though a human and an outsider by birth, has shown qualities that surpass expectation. He has earned the trust and respect of the princess, and by extension the recognition of this kingdom." Murmurs spread through the hall. Some nobles looked at each other in disbelief. Others bowed their heads slowly, realizing that the queen's words were clear and final. Lady Vera, who had opposed Daniel from the beginning, clenched her hands but said nothing. She understood that the queen's judgment could not be ignored. Queen Althira's voice became firmer. "If you doubt his worth, then let your actions speak. But know this, he has fought, guided, and protected us. His courage is undeniable and his loyalty is unwavering. Therefore Daniel shall be acknowledged as Princess Solara's chosen companion. He shall stand beside her not as a stranger, but as a trusted member of this kingdom." The hall erupted in quiet acknowledgement. Some nobles bowed formally, others clapped softly. The council nodded in agreement. Daniel felt a mixture of relief and pride. He had earned a place not through birthright but through deeds, courage, and honor. Solara stepped forward, holding Daniel's hand firmly. Her calm smile reflected pride and joy. "Thank you, Mother," she said softly. "Thank you for seeing what is true. Daniel has proven himself beyond doubt, and today, the kingdom recognizes him as my spouse and my partner in all things." The queen returned her gaze to the entire hall. "Let this be a reminder to all who serve this kingdom. Honor and courage matter more than birth, and loyalty and bravery shall always be recognized. Today we witness a new chapter in Lumeris's history. A human has earned the respect of this palace, the trust of the princess, and the recognition of all who serve here." Daniel bowed slightly to the queen and then to the council and nobles. "I am honored," he said. "I will continue to serve this kingdom with all my strength and loyalty. I will stand beside Princess Solara in all trials, and I will honor the trust placed in me." The nobles murmured their approval. Even those who had doubted him before now acknowledged his worth. The palace had changed in subtle ways. The story of a human earning a place among the Lumerians would be told for generations. Solara squeezed his hand, feeling the bond between them grow stronger. "You have done more than prove yourself to the kingdom," she said softly. "You have shown what courage, loyalty, and honor truly mean. Together we can face anything." Daniel smiled faintly. "I could not have done it without your guidance and trust. You gave me the chance to show what I can do." The queen watched them silently for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then she spoke with warmth. "You have both demonstrated what it means to lead with heart. The kingdom will support you. The palace will accept you. And in time, all will understand that courage and honor know no bounds of origin." Outside the grand hall, the city of Lumeris buzzed quietly. Citizens had heard of the events of the day, and rumors of a human recognized by the princess and the queen spread quickly. Many were skeptical at first, but tales of Daniel's courage and skill in battle inspired admiration. Children whispered about the human who had fought beside the princess. Soldiers nodded with respect. Even distant nobles prepared to visit the palace, eager to witness the human who had earned the trust of royalty. That evening, Solara led Daniel to the floating gardens. The soft glow of the plants reflected in the crystal pools, casting patterns of light across their faces. The stars above shone brightly, mirrored by the lights of the city below. "You have changed everything," Solara said quietly, her eyes reflecting pride. Daniel shook his head. "I only acted with what I knew. You believed in me, and that gave me the chance to show what I could do. That is the real difference." Solara smiled, holding his hand. "Together we will face whatever comes. You have shown the kingdom the value of courage, honor, and loyalty, and you have shown me the same. That is enough for me, now and always." Daniel looked at her, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known. "I will stand beside you, Princess Solara, always. In every challenge, every battle, every choice, I will remain loyal and true." The palace lights shimmered softly, and the floating gardens glowed brighter as if acknowledging the promise between the human and the princess. Lumeris had witnessed the courage and loyalty of a human, and the kingdom had accepted him. The rules of tradition had been challenged, but truth and honor had prevailed. In the quiet of the night, the palace rested, calm and peaceful. Solara and Daniel stood together hand in hand, ready to face the days ahead. Their bond had been tested by danger, strengthened by trust, and recognized by the queen and the kingdom. For the first time, Daniel felt truly part of something greater than himself. Not just a visitor or protector, but a trusted companion, a partner, and a member of a kingdom that had once seemed alien and impossible to join. And Solara knew that she had found someone who could stand beside her in any trial, human or alien, with courage, honor, and unwavering loyalty. The palace had been stunned, the nobles had whispered, and the queen had judged. But in the end, a human had proven himself worthy of respect, trust, and love. And together, Princess Solara and Daniel faced the future, united, ready to protect the kingdom, and ready to write the next chapter of Lumeris's history.